Hello and welcome back to Spiderwick Chronicles. This is Enchanted, and today we'll be exploring the next area, the forest proper. So let's head through there, shall we? Just keeping an eye out for any goblins, because they can kind of spawn in fairly suddenly because of the fact that we can only see them at a certain distance from us. Any further than that and they're invisible, they kind of have to fade in at this point in the game. So we have to be kind of careful right now. I like that moment with all the fairies just flitting around, and then of course they all end up dispersing because of these. Just see them disrupting the grass, and they're right here now to fight. Yeah, because they've shown up, the other fairies actually scatter now throughout the area. So let's just clear these guys out. And then we'll capture all the fairies we can find in this section. This is the forest proper. It's a nice area with a lot of varied areas to it. Sub-areas, so to speak. Just a matter of knowing where they actually show up. And some of the fairies can be a little annoying to get to. Because like this blue guy, this blue guy is incredibly fast, but also it will fly up a little bit as well. So it's just a matter of waiting for them to get into a good position to grab them for a lot of these fairies. Some of them are much easier to get to than others, but there we go. But something like that flowering spike can be quite elusive. But again, these are the fast ones, so it's not surprising. Bistort, which is a ridiculous name, but and then again, these are ridiculous creatures, so that's fitting.
Hey, let's see what you
I like
can
the
do.
little helmets. The little helmets definitely help add to the air of the fact that these are designed to move really quickly. They're like almost like just like motorbike kind of guys, like the little almost leathery kind of armor and everything like that, and then the little helmets and everything. They're very reminiscent of motorcyclists, and that's pretty cute. Will-o-wisps are just kind of fat. Not really much to say about will-o-wisps. They can be useful because of their power, which is to confuse enemies. So you release them into a swarm of enemies, and those enemies get a little bit dizzy and do a little like stars above their heads and everything. I might use that later on when it's needed.
I can't get across this.
What else? Yeah, you can't get across it, but it doesn't mean there's nothing there. Because that's a pond, you see. And the ponds actually have something in common. Which is these guys, these blue fairies that I want to get one of. So it's just a matter of waiting until this guy gets close enough to us, because again, right now we just can't use the fairy fruit to attract it, which would make this much easier. Also, I just want to empty the wheel a little bit so that I can fit it somewhere. As you can see, that guy's going straight back to where he was, like they always do. Come on. There we are, the pond skater sprite. These guys are cute and kind of interesting. I believe these guys are our defensive boosters, like the ones that give us stronger defense.
No,
but it escaped because there we go. But there's actually very few of these in the game. I believe there's only 3. But we'll see exactly what this one does when I actually grab it, because I've kind of forgotten at this point. But the wheel will remind us.
I caught ya.
Kimberlina. Yeah, invulnerability. So, similar to the circle of mushrooms, but much more useful, because the circle of mushrooms stays in one place. Invulnerability comes with us. Let's grab a spout sprite on the way up there too. I quite like the way the forest is made up of all these, every area in this game pretty much is made up of like a lot of little sub-areas that each have their own distinct look and feel to them. It helps know where everything is, for remembering where to go and everything like that, and it keeps things interesting. And also keeps it feeling like a real place, because real places tend to have that kind of variation.
Made it.
Well, also adding to the fairy tale aspect as well as the reality of it. It's kind of a Sort of like a more real than real kind of a thing. Not really sure exactly how to explain it. But here we have the Leatherwing sprite. And so we'll see our major thing that these do, which is very nice.
Gotcha.
An extra health leaf is now ours. Now we have 4. And that's very good that we've got that, because I almost died in this video. If I didn't have that 4th leaf, I would have died in this video. But we'll see that when we get there. Some of these sprites don't really do much, but then again, there's a lot of them, so it kind of makes sense that they could probably run out of ideas. So the sprite's just giving you an item,
Alright, some more
just the same item each time as well. It's just a little bit dull. And there's a lot of them, there's like 10 of them just wandering around wasting your time, but it's just kind of, they're kind of interesting looking at least, and they add something else to the areas to do, even if it's just following a little hopping trails. It's just this game has no shortage of fairy types. It may be that they were trying to include all the fairies from the book and just kind of couldn't think of what to do with those ones. But again, I haven't read the book, so I don't know how many of these fairies actually appear in the books, or how many of them were made up whole cloth for the actual game. I'm assuming most of them were at least inspired by the book, though. I believe I was making sure I hadn't actually missed any fairies here. And I hadn't, so let's move on. Goblins, huh? Weep the whirlwind. Yeah, I kind of like that sometimes also they get their own little, like, things that the characters get their own little things they say for certain fairies as well, like that really lame joke that Jared just made. Which, if you didn't hear, it was blown away, literally. But yeah, there's an annoying fairy over here because it was on this rock right here, and it takes forever to get back to the rock, so let's get other fairies in the way, shall we? And this area is also crawling with goblins, so many goblins. So of course, while exploring this particular area, you'll keep getting interrupted by goblins, and that's a little annoying. But then again, they are a finite number, there's just a lot of them. And the fairies in this area like to move around a lot, so you'll end up getting dragged into a bunch more goblins than you thought there were. But I do kind of like the drawing of the fairies, because it helps remind you that yes, you haven't actually got this one yet. It's a good little way of showing without just incrementing a counter. It's a visually interesting way of saying this is one you haven't got yet, so try and catch it now. To make the ones you have got better. And also, the sprites and the fairy fruit that they give, the fairy fruit isn't really used that much because there's always some other way around using it. There's one sprite that I haven't got that I can't get without fairy fruit. And there's a few places where it is very genuinely useful. Oh no, goblins. Yeah, as you can see, the goblins can actually sneak up on us as well. And we have a very narrow window when we can actually see them right now as well. Notice I keep saying right now. Yeah, the reason this game's good is because that does actually upgrade over time. But we'll see those upgrades as we see them. There's a lot of things in this game do upgrade over time. Pretty much everything does. It's just a matter of how it does it. Now that thing's run away all the way up there, so now the goblin interrupted. We now have to wait for it to come back down again. And yeah, that's actually what that opening cutscene was pretty much for as well. It's pretty much a tutorial showing you, hey, if a goblin attacks you, the fairies will flee. So that's a neat way of showing you that, so you can at least expect it's going to happen. So it's like you can just accept, okay, the goblin came, now I'm going to have to wait for the yellow bell to come back down again. The bellflower, rather. And there you are. Now I finally get this bellflower. Rosebray willow herb. For some reason, I'm just kind of reminded of that old children's program, The Herbs. The very friendly lion named Parsley and all of the other friends. So now there are some interesting kinds of fairies in this area that are quite neat. Stray sods. these don't really get captured the usual way. We don't really draw these or net them. What we have to do instead is a bit different. As you may have noticed from that, what we need to actually... Oh, that blue one's back. Want the blue one. Get rid of this goblin idiot. I know you're still around. I only heard myself in it. Whatever.
Keep watching me.
With the stray swords, you just need to run around them. And when they get confused, the grass drops. And when the grass drops, you can get into the alcove they're guarding to grab whatever key item or treasure they're carrying behind there. And a lot of them do have key items. There's not too many of them, but they're in interesting places, and sometimes you actually make little shortcuts and things, and that's kind of fun. But yeah, you don't really, as far as I recall, you don't really net the stray swords, so you just kind of do that and it counts as getting them. I mean, I may be misremembering, the stray swords are generally weird, I may have to come back for those, but I don't believe so. I think I have pretty much got that one in the bag.
Blown away, literally.
I quite like this area. This area is known as the Meadow in the guide I was using to find the missing ones when I first played this game, and that I also used to get a list together of fairies that were in different areas and everything, so I'd know where everything was to get it all without missing anything. And the meadow is a nice little area of the forest. It's actually quite a substantial area as well. It's huge, but not like too big. It's not big enough to be obnoxious, it's just big enough to be different. And finally that flowering spike fell into my net. So of course the more flowerings we have, the faster we can run. And the faster we can run with them attached, the better we'll do when we eventually get around to doing the sprite race. So we're going to get as many of everything as we can. And generally I save the sprite race till last in this game, because, or at least I'll make sure I have it pretty much all the other dash fairies. So yeah, here I'm currently looking for something that is kind of hard to see. There's two other stray swords in this meadow.
Give me some speed.
From of course I've got this red guy before, so let's just speed up and try and grab him just to make sure I haven't already got him. I have, but that's fine. I quite like the little makeshift weapons they have as well, like the little spears and stuff. Those are very cute. And yeah, I'll look up how to do those attacks that I've unlocked at the beginning of the next video and try to use them, but the mid-air attack is really difficult to use, and this is what I was looking for. One of the two stray swords around the edge of this area. This guy's a bit annoying though, because he's in a particularly annoying position and he's not coming out any further. He's being naughty, so I'm just going to have to deal with it this way. There we are. And this is where I get very lucky. This big guy. These guys are mean and do a lot of damage. I nearly died because of him. But all this area is guarding is this guy. So let's capture him, shall we? So yeah, behind this area is this will-o'-the-wisp who's currently hiding because we got attacked. So of course it got spooked. So let's just move away a little bit and then move back. We'll move back there to get that will-o'-the-wisp though after doing this. If I don't actually go back for that will-o'-the-wisp, I'll do that in the next, well, in a later video. Come on, come out so I can run around you and confuse you. The only thing with stray swords is they sometimes just don't play ball. You have to really hope they're going to play along. Yeah, now I'm basically almost dead. Which is not very good.
I can use this.
But here is one of the few fairly interesting side quests, which is creatures that used to live here, but don't anymore. There's quite a few of these side quests around, finding evidence of creatures that long deserted the area, like the cockatrice. We'll find more evidence of the cockatrice's existence, because as far as we're aware right now, it could just be a chicken.
I need some help.
Yeah, that's what we're looking for right now, Jared. We're just going to head back because now we're showing just how useful the spikes can be. Because we have captured a lot of health spikes, which means we have a lot to choose from that we can go back for, like this one. Now we can just grab it, heal with it, and we're done. If we ever need more health, we can just come back here, grab that guy, and move on. Same with the guy in the garden, and a guy coming up who's another one of those kind of spikes as well. The more of those spikes we capture, the better, because the more quickly we can heal ourselves in a dire situation. I don't use the spinning attack much, because there's really not much point to it, it's got too much wind up. But yeah, as you could see from that big guy and how much damage he did to us, this game, while it's not overly difficult, it's also not the easiest. And yeah, I may have forgotten that will otherwise, but I'll go back for that in a later video. Unless it was one I've already got and I didn't realise it was flown in there, but I think it is just one I haven't got yet.
There's the road again.
It is annoying, but yeah. Some things happen. I almost died. Cut me some slack. Here's another healthy. And now we can actually use the attack I was trying to use on the beginning of the video, where you slide and then attack. Which is that little thing he does where he does that little, like, that little hop. That is the evade. You can get that little hop and slide. That is the evade. The evade attack allows him to attack from that. It's fairly fluid and fairly fun to use. I just didn't get around to using it in this video. Let's continue moving on until we find our quarry, shall we? Because our brother has gone missing, let's just forget. It's time to get him back from these little idiots. Because we have explored largely, well, most of what we can explore in this area. So now it's time to move forward. However, we can't get up there. So let's go around, shall we, and find a way to bridge that gap. We get to an interesting little area of the forest as well. I quite like the forest because it's big. Like, Hyrule Field levels are big in some cases, but it's not boring. Much like Hyrule Field, there's a lot of different little areas, like the Lon Ranch and the gate for the city, all that, the drawbridge, all that kind of stuff. But in this case, it's the meadow, the log bridge, the little path by the quarry, and this little bouncy area here to jump around in. And yeah, I kind of gave away there. The area we're going to at the moment, where our brother has been taken, is in fact the quarry. I don't know how he knows he was taken to the quarry, but that's where we're going. Hence the sign saying to the quarry. I'm just trying to find our way back up, because this area can be kind of tricky to get you back out of if you don't recall where everything is. There we are. So let's now take our platforms, shall we? Head over here first, see if there's anything good's over here, besides a big guy again. That could have been hairy. Those big guys do a lot of damage, as you saw. And all that's really here is somebody's fairy food again. But it's fun to beat these big guys up, and here's the spinny attack a bit more. Because the big guys do give quite a few of the goblin teeth. See? 3 of them. That's nice. Now, for the goblin teeth, there is a useful maximum of 50. When you get 50 goblin teeth, that character will have unlocked every move at their disposal. So it doesn't take much time to get them up. You don't really need to grind in this game, because just getting a character somewhere and having them survive the onslaught of goblins will give you enough to level you up. Because there's so many goblins that attack you, it's ridiculous. So let's push this log down. A nice little bridge. And also over here we have a trail leading to...
I can use this.
Some more cockatrice evidence. The stone mouse. I really like that aspect of this game, the aspect of time that it gives, because all these creatures that we're finding evidence for, we'll only ever find evidence of. And there are more than just the cockatrice. And that gives this kind of the forest a sense of history that the movie didn't have a chance to build up. This forest was once bustling with life.
On the old road.
Some of it's still there. And some of it has just moved on with its own life. It's either extinct, which would be a shame, or it's just gone elsewhere. Which also, even like, build interest. If this game had sold better, that aspect of it could have even built interest for a sequel. I would have been interested in a sequel to this game. Because it's a really good game, there's a really good exploration of the area. It would be nice to go to a completely different area of this whole world, like, so whether it wasn't the forest surrounding the house or whatever, and see what you could find in other places, or the creatures to show up that can actually meet some of the, like, actually meet a cockatrice, that kind of stuff. It would have been neat. So I'm kind of sad that the game was kind of dismissed as a licensed game for a movie that wasn't that good, and just generally ignored. Because that is a really interesting set of questions that this game raises, is what happened to all of this wildlife that used to exist, and no longer does. The game raises questions, and I like that. I mean, the movie does some interesting things as well, which we will see towards the end of the game. But for the most part, it suffered from a lack of time. There we are, flowering. That could have been a lot worse. We'll be getting these now, because later on it will be a huge pain. Because something will happen here, but we'll deal with that as soon as we can, as soon as it comes up. But just bear in mind, if we don't do these now, there'll be a huge pain. But now we've got them, so let's move on, shall we? So next we're gonna head... Oh dear.
Huh?
Yeah, Jared's kind of blind and deaf, but yeah. That's a cool looking creature. We'll see more of him later. He annoyed me. But for now we're going to the quarry. And here is where our brother Simon is being held hostage. So... let's let it load in, get a good little sneak preview of the area, which looks fairly nice. It's just a load of white stone, but it's a very nice shade of white. And I will see you next time, as we explore the quarry to find Simon. Thank you for watching, I'll see you later. Goodbye.